Hi, and welcome to the classes of Vedic astrology. So, today we will be learning about how human relationships can be understood from Vedic astrology. Means, how looking at an individual's Lagna chart, we will be able to understand how that individual is how that individual is emotionally and mentally connected with their human relationships. All right, so human relationships and Vedic astrology are interconnected, definitely, just like it is in medical astrology. I had discussed about the topic of medical astrology in detail in one of my previous classes. And today also, as medical and astrology are interconnected, Vedic astrology, similarly, human relationships and Vedic astrology are interconnected. It means, when I say interconnected, it means using the science of Vedic astrology, we can understand an individual's human relationships, because that is also there mentioned in the teachings of Vedic astrology. And today I will be sharing with you in detail how is it so. See, every house, there are 12 houses in a particular Lagna chart. Every house in a particular Lagna chart indicates a human relationship. Or if I want to put it in some other way, every house in an individual's Lagna chart shows that individual's relationships with other humans, right? If you can understand in this particular way. And when I say relationship with other humans, what that means, that I will be explaining to you in detail in today's class. So every house, every grahas, every sthan, graha is planet and sthan means house. Every house and every planet indicates a human relationship. And what is that? I will be unfolding it to you in today's Vedic astrology class. So let's first understand about the houses. What house indicates what relationship of that individual? All right. The first house talks about relationship with self. It is basically the self. The Lagna is the self, is the individual himself or herself. So the first house talks about self. The second house talks about immediate family members and the neighbors. The third house talks about younger siblings. The fourth house talks about or indicates the mother of that individual. So whatever I'm saying, it is about that individual's Lagna chart. All right. So the fourth house talks about the mother. The fifth house talks about love affairs, love relationships, romantic relationships, and it also talks about the prodigy, that is the children of that individual whose Lagna chart who you will be interpreting or analyzing. The sixth house indicates relatives. So the sixth house, eighth house, and 12th house, all of these three houses, they indicates relatives of that individual. The seventh house indicates, or it talks about the spouse of that individual, the life partner of that individual. It also talks about the business partner also, the seventh house. The eighth house and 12th house and 6th house, as I had said, it talks about the relatives of that individual. The ninth house talks about the father. The 10th house talks about nephew, niece, brother-in-law, sister-in-law. The 10th house talks about all of these human relationships. The 11th house talks about elder siblings. It talks about the son-in-law or and the daughter-in-law. And 12th house, as I had already discussed, 6th, 8th, and 12th, it talks about the various relatives of that individual. So this is how each house, every house of a particular Lagna chart indicates, talks about, reflects about that individual's various human relationships or the various relationships that individual has, like with his or her family members, with his or her siblings, with his or her business partners, life partner, with his or her parents, with his or her children, with his or her nephew, niece, with his or her in-laws, whether parent-in-laws or whether they're sibling-in-laws. All right, so this is how you have to understand houses in Vedic astrology and its corresponding human relationships. Now let's understand how each and every planet talks about a certain human relationship. Jupiter talks about elders, teachers, gurus. Mercury talks about small children and also relatives. Mars also talks about siblings, or if you want to look at from the planets' point of view, planets' perspective, Mars is the only planet which talks about siblings of that individual. It also includes cousins. The sun indicates father. The moon indicates mother. Saturn indicates laborious people, all the laborers, all the poor people. These are again indicated, or these are denoted by the planet Saturn. All right. Rahu indicates physically handicapped people, that is PWD, people with disabilities. Rahu also indicates orphanage, old age homes. These are indicated by the planet Rahu. Ketu indicates all of those people in your life or in someone's life who takes them towards moksha. So this is kind of spiritual. Even Jupiter is also spiritual because Jupiter also indicates spirituality. Ketu also indicates spirituality, but again Ketu has that department where it isolates the people from family life, if you can put it in that particular way, because it is taking a person towards moksha, and moksha is all about self-actualization. It's all about detachment from family. It's all about freeing oneself from the cycle of birth and death. This is what is the meaning of moksha. All right, so Ketu indicates, or people who takes someone towards moksha. This is again indicated by the planet Ketu. Venus indicates spouse, life partner. So these are what all the planets in Vedic astrology, they are indicating, they are symbolizing, they are representing, they are talking about human relationships, all the relationships that an individual will have, like with all of these people. So now you will be able to understand, whenever you will look at someone's Lagna chart, someone's horoscope, if a particular house is disturbed, it will indicate that whatever human relationships that are indicated that are symbolized, that are characterized by that particular house, that individual will face problem to maintain sound relationships with them. If that particular house is negatively afflicted, when I say a particular house is negatively afflicted, it means the lord of that particular house is Maraka or badly placed. Maraka planets are sitting in that particular house. Some inauspicious dosh is forming in that particular house. Inauspicious planets, Maraka planets are aspecting that particular house. So there are various ways where you will be able to understand that one particular house or a particular house in a Lagna chart is disturbed. All right. So if a particular house is a Yoga Karka, if a particular house is very strong, it means all of the human relationships which are indicated by that particular house, that individual whose Lagna chart you are reading will have sound relationships from them, would benefit from their relationships, would benefit from their companies. So this is what you have to understand from this particular concept of human relationships in Vedic astrology. Similarly, if a planet, suppose if negatively afflicted, if a planet is Maraka, so what the human relationships that are characterized by that particular planet, you will be able to understand that individual will face difficulties to maintain sound relationships with them. So now, why you are learning this, why you are understanding this, you have to know. So if a particular house is well placed, if a particular house is strong, if a particular planet is strong, so the human relationships that are indicated, that are represented, symbolized by that particular house or that particular planet, that individual will definitely very naturally find it very easy to maintain happy relationships with them. But if the houses, if certain houses, if certain planets are disturbed, chances are that or the human relationships which are indicated, which are represented by that particular house and that particular planet, that individual will find it naturally very hard to maintain pleasant relationships with them. So when you will be able to understand this by interpreting, by analyzing a particular Lagna chart, what you need to do is you have to recommend, you have to strongly suggest that individual to put all of his sincere, honest and hard efforts to maintain good, happy and prosperous relationships with those individuals where they are finding it hard to maintain naturally, because it is again, those are indicated by the Lagna chart also, and the same thing is again you will be seeing it is matching with that particular person's life. Chances are that a very high probability is that it will be matching with that particular person's life. So when a particular person is finding it hard to maintain happy relationships with someone, you have to strongly suggest to that individual to maintain happy, strong, healthy and optimistic relationships with those individuals. Whenever healthy, optimistic relationships are getting formed, are getting maintained by that individual, even despite of the fact that naturally it was not happening so, but only because of the karma, only because of the efforts that the individual is putting out of his comfort zone, that individual is going and taking that extra mile to put that effort to create that happy relationship, healthy, optimistic, meaningful relationship with that individual. Healthy is very important. You have to note healthy relationships, all right, with that individual or with that particular, all those human relationships which that particular house or which that particular planet is indicating. So whenever such things will happen, whenever good karmas will be done by that individual, it will also positively impact that particular house and that particular planet, which naturally it was disturbed, but only because of the karma, the extra efforts of that individual is transforming the negative into positive. So whenever the individual will put his or her karma into maintaining happy, positive, healthy and meaningful relationships with individuals, with various human relationships, the planets and the houses will also show positive effects, which are by default positive, which are by default strong, will always remain strong. All right, chances and probability are that they will always remain strong, because such individual will find it naturally very easy to maintain happy relationships with them. All right, it will always be a two-way street of maintaining happy relationships. But whenever houses and planets are disturbed, this is where individual will find it hard naturally to maintain or to create happy relationships, which are being denoted by those planets and houses. This is where the karma, the extra effort, the determination of that individual comes, and only through this particular karma that that individual is putting into creating and maintaining happy relationships with those individuals, then because of that positive karma, because of that pure karma, that individual will transform that negative into positive, and that will also positively affect that disturbed house or that disturbed planet. So all the good aspects related to that particular house in his or her Lagna chart, all the positive aspects related to that particular planet, that individual will also receive that in his or her life. This is where, as a practitioner of Vedic astrology, you have to educate and aware individuals. All right, you have to make them aware, make them know that it is completely depending on his or her hands, his or her willpower, willingness to create healthy, I have to double quotes the word healthy relationships, happy relationships, meaningful relationships, optimistic relationships. All right. And when I use the word relationships, it means relationships with all of the individuals, with whatever I had discussed in this class, be it their parents, that is family members, their children, their in-laws, their cousins, their siblings, their teachers, their neighbors, their friends, their gurus, their spiritual teachers, everyone. All right. This is where free will, choice, the power of the mind, the aura, the positive aura of that individual, the understanding of the individual of what is right, what is wrong comes in. So this is what I wanted to discuss in today's class about the importance of human relationships in Vedic astrology. I hope you all will use and utilize this particular awareness, this particular concept, this particular learning to the best use, and educate your clients or educate your friends or professional networks, personal networks, into maintaining decent, harmonious, healthy, positive, happy relationships. And it is completely equivalent to the amount of positive energy that that individual will be drawing in towards his or her Lagna chart, his or her planets. These are the karmic effects, the positive karmic effects. So I hope you have understood my video, my today's class completely and entirely. I have given my honest effort, my best effort, in order to make you understand properly, accurately, in a crisp way, what is the meaning and what is the concept and what is the topic of human relationships in Vedic astrology. All right. So I hope you have noted it down, practice it again and again, that which particular house indicates which particular human relationship, which particular planet indicates which particular human relationship. The reason being, whenever you will look at a Lagna chart of an individual, you will be able to understand with the click of your, you will be able to understand straight away by looking at that particular Lagna chart that, yeah, this particular house, this particular relationship is being indicated. This particular planet will indicate that particular relationship. So now you will be able to know. You just need to practice it more and more so that this particular knowledge is earthed in your mind, in your long-term memory. So I hope you are watching all of my classes in detail. I hope you are watching all of my contents of every class in detail. Don't even skip one class. If you are skipping one class, if you are missing one class, you will be missing out on a lot of information, on a lot of useful knowledge which I am sharing about Vedic astrology. The accurate, the proper, the complete, and the perfect knowledge about various topics of Vedic astrology which a particular individual needs to know if he or she wants to become a sound practitioner of Vedic astrology. So, before you say goodbye to today's class, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my videos, share my videos, and if you have any doubts, any queries, any questions related to the topics of Vedic astrology, that is what I am teaching, what I am sharing in all of my classes, in all of my videos. Share those questions, your doubts, your queries in the comment section, and I will definitely try to answer them and resolve your doubts, your queries, your questions. Take care, have a nice day, and I will see you in the next class.